First contact amid the stars. The great observatory dome of Joria Prime trembled as Director Nima Krell burst through the doors, her six-fingered hands clutching a data tablet so tightly that the protective casing creaked. The night shift analysts scattered from her path, their luminescent skin flickering with anxiety patterns. "Verify these readings immediately," she commanded, her voice steady despite the tremor in her secondary respiratory vents. "Full spectrum analysis, maximum resolution." Senior analyst Davin moved to comply, his elongated fingers dancing across the control interface. The massive telescopic array above them pivoted with a low hum, its countless lenses and sensors realigning toward a point in the darkness beyond their solar system. "Director," Davin said after a moment, his voice dropping to a whisper, confirmation complete. "The object is artificial, approximately 3 kilometers in length, and decelerating toward our system's outer boundary." The chamber fell silent. In their 5 millennia of recorded history, the Jorians had never encountered another spacefaring civilization. They had only recently mastered interplanetary travel within their own system, establishing modest colonies on 2 neighboring worlds. "How soon?" Nima asked. "At current velocity, 5 planetary rotations until it reaches detection range of our defense platforms." Nima's silver eyes narrowed. "Inform the High Council immediately, classification level Omega." Within hours, the High Council chamber of Joria Prime had descended into chaos. 27 representatives from various Jorian territories argued vehemently, their bioluminescent skin flashing in patterns of alarm, aggression, and fear. "We must assume hostile intent," Defense Minister Thaxis pounded his fist against the circular table. "A vessel of that size could only be designed for conquest." "Speculation without evidence is contrary to reason," countered Ambassador Vexil Oram, the eldest member of the council. His weathered skin barely glowed now, a sign of his advanced age. "If they possessed technology advanced enough for interstellar travel, they could have destroyed us without announcing their presence." Director Nima Krell stood quietly at the presentation podium, waiting for the arguments to subside. When High Chancellor Pell finally called for order, she activated the holographic display. "The vessel continues its approach, but we've detected regular electromagnetic pulses emanating from it. Our analysis suggests they are communication attempts, mathematical sequences followed by more complex data patterns." "Have we deciphered anything?" Chancellor Pell asked. "Portions," Nima replied. "The most repeated phrase translates roughly as, 'Greetings from Earth, we come in peace.'" Defense Minister Thaxis scoffed. "A classic deception tactic." "Perhaps," Ambassador Vexil said thoughtfully, "or perhaps a genuine gesture of goodwill. I recommend we respond." The debate raged for another full rotation before Chancellor Pell made his decision. "Ambassador Vexil and Director Krell will prepare a response. Defense Minister Thaxis will ready our defensive capabilities, but no aggressive actions will be taken without direct council approval." Aboard the Stellar Odyssey, Captain Jaden Mercer stood before the panoramic viewscreen, hands clasped behind his back as he studied the blue-green world growing larger in their field of view. "Still no response, Captain," Communications Officer Haruki Nakamura reported, adjusting his headset. "We've been broadcasting for 72 hours on all frequencies." "Keep trying, Lieutenant. They're receiving us. Their signal patterns changed after our first transmission." Dr. Octavia Willis, the ship's xenoanthropologist, joined him at the viewscreen. Her dark skin contrasted with the white of her uniform, and her close-cropped hair was beginning to show streaks of gray despite her relative youth. "They're afraid, Captain. Imagine if our roles were reversed. A massive alien vessel approaching Earth before we'd even developed interplanetary capabilities." Mercer nodded. At 53, he had spent more than half his life in space, commanding everything from small research vessels to this, humanity's first true interstellar ship. The Stellar Odyssey represented the combined resources of Earth's unified government, a vessel designed to seek out other intelligent life and establish peaceful contact. "First Officer Dowen, what's our status?" Priya Dowan consulted her tablet. All systems nominal, Captain. We're maintaining deceleration as planned. Defensive systems remain inactive as per first contact protocol. Good, let's... Captain, Nakamura interrupted, his voice rising with excitement. Incoming transmission. It appears to be a response. On screen, Lieutenant. The view screen shifted to display a being unlike anything humans had encountered before. Its elongated head housed large, silvery eyes above a small mouth. The skin appeared smooth, with patterns of light moving beneath the surface like bioluminescent currents. Greetings, vessel from Earth, the being spoke in carefully measured tones, the words clearly processed through some form of translation system. I am Ambassador Vexil Orum of the Jorian Confederation. Your presence in our system is unexpected. Please state your intentions clearly. Mercer stepped forward. Ambassador Vexil, I am Captain Jaden Mercer of the Earth vessel Stellar Odyssey. We are explorers seeking peaceful contact with other intelligent civilizations. We apologize for any alarm our arrival may have caused. The Jorian ambassador's skin pulsed with subtle patterns. Your vessel appears to be of significant military capability, Captain Mercer. The Odyssey is equipped with defensive systems for our journey through unknown space, but our mission is purely exploratory and diplomatic. As a gesture of good faith, I invite a delegation from your world to board our vessel and verify our peaceful intentions. A long pause followed before the ambassador responded. We will consider your invitation, Captain. In the meantime, please maintain your current position beyond our outer defense perimeter. Understood, Ambassador. We await your decision. After the transmission ended, Mercer turned to his senior staff. Opinions. They're cautious but curious, Dr. Willis observed. The invitation surprised them. Security concerns? Mercer asked his security chief. Commander Roland Torres straightened his broad shoulders. Standard protocols should suffice, Captain. Limited access to non-sensitive areas, escort teams at all times. Very good. Prepare for guests, everyone. This is what we came for. 3 rotations later, a Jorian shuttle approached the Stellar Odyssey. Its sleek, organic design reflected the aesthetic of its creators, flowing lines and bioluminescent accents along its hull. Ambassador Vexil had insisted on leading the delegation himself, despite objections from the Defense Ministry. Accompanying him were Director Nima Krell and a small security detail led by Commander Zarin, whose skin rippled with barely contained tension. Remember, Vexil addressed his team as their shuttle approached the massive human vessel. We represent all Joria. Our actions today may determine the course of our civilization's future. Director Nima added, observe everything. These humans have mastered technologies we've only theorized about. Understanding their capabilities is crucial. Commander Zarin checked his energy pistol one final time. And if this is a trap, then we will have learned an important lesson about trust, Vexil replied calmly, though I suspect it would be our final one. The shuttle docked with precision in the Odyssey's cavernous hangar bay. As the airlock cycled, the Jorians prepared themselves for humanity's first impression. The inner door slid open to reveal Captain Mercer standing with a small, welcoming party. The humans were remarkably similar in basic form to Jorians, bipedal with a central head and 4 limbs, yet strikingly different in their solid skin tones and varied physical characteristics. Ambassador Vexil, Mercer stepped forward, offering a slight bow rather than extending his hand, having been briefed on potential cultural differences. Welcome aboard the Stellar Odyssey. Vexil's skin glowed with formal greeting patterns. Captain Mercer, your invitation was unexpected but appreciated. As the formal introductions proceeded, Director Nima studied the humans intently. Their technology was impressive. The artificial gravity, the seamless integration of biological and mechanical systems, the scale of the vessel itself. Yet there was something else that caught her attention, the diversity among the humans themselves. They varied dramatically in size, coloration, and features, yet functioned as a cohesive unit. The tour proceeded through hydroponics gardens filled with earth plants, science laboratories, living quarters, and finally to an observation deck offering a spectacular view of Joria Prime below. "Your world is beautiful," Dr. Willis commented as they gazed at the blue-green planet with its twin moons. "The bioluminescent patterns in your oceans are visible even from space." "Our oceanic kelp forests," Director Nima explained, her scientific curiosity momentarily overriding diplomatic caution. "They synchronize their light patterns during breeding seasons." "Similar to Earth's coral reefs," Dr. Willis replied enthusiastically, "though ours phosphoresce rather than bioluminesce." The unexpected moment of scientific camaraderie shifted the atmosphere. For the first time, the tension in Commander Zaren's posture eased slightly. Ambassador Vexel turned to Captain Mercer. "Your vessel is impressive, Captain, as is your willingness to allow our inspection. I must ask, though, why did you specify human in your initial greeting? Do not fear human spaceship approaching. Why emphasize your species?" Mercer smiled. "Because in our early history, we often feared the unknown. Our literature imagined terrifying alien invaders. We wanted you to know that we come as people, individuals with families and hopes, not as faceless conquerors." Vexil's skin pulsed with thoughtful patterns. "A wise approach. Fear often stems from the inability to recognize oneself in the other." Bridge across the void. The command center of the Stellar Odyssey hummed with tense activity as Captain Mercer, Ambassador Vexil, and their respective teams gathered around the tactical display. The holographic projection showed Defense Platform Theta, a Jorian orbital installation that had fallen under extremist control, rotating slowly against the starfield, its weapons primed and locked onto both the human vessel and nearby Jorian ships. "Ultranationalist faction," Commander Zaren explained, his bioluminescent patterns pulsing with anger and shame. "The Purist Coalition believes any contact with extraterrestrial life threatens Jorian culture and sovereignty." First Officer Priya Dowan studied the tactical display. "Captain, their weapons are primitive by our standards, but they could cause significant damage to Jorian craft. They appear to be charging their main cannon." "We can't simply destroy a Jorian defense platform," Mercer replied, turning to Ambassador Vexil. "This requires a precision approach." Director Nima Krell stepped forward, her silver eyes reflecting the holographic light. "The platform's design includes emergency protocols, if we could access their main computer." Lieutenant Nakamura's fingers flew across his console. "I'm detecting encrypted communications between the platform and the surface. They're receiving instructions from somewhere on Joria Prime." "Radical leadership giving orders from safety," Zaren growled, his skin flashing with disgust. "Cowards." Ambassador Vexil's weathered face remained calm despite the crisis. "Captain Mercer, my people have never faced such a direct conflict. Our society evolved through consensus and diplomacy, not warfare. How would humans handle this situation?" The question hung in the air as Mercer considered their options. The fate of first contact, and potentially both civilizations, hung in the balance. "With minimal force and maximum precision," he finally answered. "Commander Torres, prepare a tactical insertion team. Director Krell will need complete schematics of that platform." "You intend to board it?" Vexil asked, astonished. "With your permission, Ambassador. A small team can infiltrate the platform, neutralize the extremists non-lethally, and regain control without destroying Jorian property or taking lives." Torres straightened his uniform. "My team can handle this, Captain." "Not alone," Commander Zaren interjected, his skin glowing with determination. "You need someone who knows Jorian systems. I volunteer." The two security chiefs locked eyes across the tactical display, mutual respect beginning to form between warriors of different worlds. "Very well," Mercer nodded. "A joint operation." The insertion craft approached Platform Theta silently, using the massive bulk of the Stellar Odyssey to mask its approach. Inside, Commander Torres and Commander Zaren led a mixed team of 4 humans and 3 Jorians, all equipped with non-lethal weaponry. "Approaching blind side of the platform," reported Lieutenant Reeves, the human pilot. No indication they've detected us. Tors addressed the team. Remember, we disable and detain only. No casualties unless absolutely necessary for our survival. Zarin nodded, his skin dimmed to minimal luminescence for the stealth operation. The control center will be at the core, protected by at least 2 security checkpoints. The extremists are likely concentrated there. How many hostiles? Asked Specialist Ortiz, checking her stun weapon. Estimate 15 to 20, Zarin replied. Our advantage is surprise. The insertion craft latched onto an emergency airlock on the platform's underside. As the teams prepared to breach, Tors extended his hand to Zarin. The Jorian hesitated only briefly before clasping it with his 6-fingered hand. For both our worlds, Tors said quietly. Zarin's skin pulsed once in agreement. For both our worlds. Back on the Odyssey, Captain Mercer and Ambassador Vexil monitored the operation via secure channel. Director Nemo worked alongside Dr. Willis and Lieutenant Nakamura, analyzing the platform's systems for vulnerabilities. I've identified their command protocols, Nemo announced. Once our team reaches the central terminal, I can transmit an override sequence. And if they've changed the access codes? Vexil asked. Dr. Willis smiled. That's why we're also preparing a more direct approach. She gestured to a small device on the workstation. This will generate an electromagnetic pulse precisely calibrated to disrupt their systems temporarily without causing permanent damage. Ambassador Vexil studied the human scientists with newfound respect. Your people have clearly given considerable thought to non-destructive conflict resolution. We learned through bitter experience, Mercer replied. Humanity's history is filled with wars that taught us the value of restraint. Sometimes the greatest strength lies in choosing not to use one's full power. The ambassador's skin rippled with thoughtful patterns. A profound philosophy, one that suggests our civilizations may have more in common than appearances suggest. Their conversation was interrupted by Nakamura. Captain, incoming transmission from the insertion team. The joint insertion team had moved efficiently through the platform's outer sections, encountering only token resistance. The extremists had concentrated their forces around the command center, leaving much of the platform vulnerable. Control room ahead, Zarin whispered, his skin completely darkened. Heavy doors likely sealed. Tors nodded and signaled to Specialist Ortiz, who attached a small device to the door's control panel. Seconds later, the panel sparked and the doors slid open. The team moved with practiced precision, deploying stun grenades that filled the control room with disorienting light and sound. The purest extremists, caught by surprise, offered little effective resistance. Within minutes, the control room was secured, with 15 Jorian extremists subdued and restrained. Command center secured, Tors reported through his communicator. Minimal resistance, no casualties on either side. Well done, Commander, Mercer's voice replied. Director Krell will transmit the override sequence now. Zarin moved to the main control terminal, his fingers dancing across the unfamiliar interface as he inputted the codes transmitted from the Odyssey. The platform's weapons powered down, and emergency systems returned to normal operation. Platform neutralized, Zarin confirmed, his skin beginning to glow with pride. All systems returning to High Council control. As Tors surveyed the captured extremists, he noticed one, clearly their leader, staring at Zarin with unbridled contempt. Traitor, the extremist spat, his skin flashing angry patterns. Consorting with aliens will be our downfall. Zarin approached his countrymen calmly. Look at them, he gestured toward the human team members. They could have destroyed this platform with all of us aboard. Instead, they risked their lives to preserve ours. Is that the action of conquerors? The extremist leader had no answer. When the insertion team returned to the Odyssey, they were greeted with a hero's welcome from both human and Jorian delegations. The successful joint operation had done more to build trust between the species than any diplomatic exchange could have achieved. In the following days, Formal negotiations began between Ambassador Vexil and Captain Mercer, with Director Nima and Dr. Willis establishing the foundations for scientific cooperation. The cultural and technological exchange revealed surprising complementary strengths. Jorian biotechnology and human engineering principles seemed made for integration. Your navigation systems are remarkably efficient, Nima observed during one session, studying the Odyssey's stellar cartography room. Our people have focused on biological computing that's more adaptive but less precise. While your environmental systems are far more sustainable than ours, Dr. Willis countered admiringly. We could learn much from each other. This promising beginning was interrupted 7 days after first contact, when both Jorian and human long-range sensors detected an anomaly at the edge of the system. Unknown objects approaching from the galactic east, reported Lieutenant Nakamura. They're accelerating toward the system at speeds exceeding our capabilities. Director Nima's analysis confirmed the human findings. Energy signatures suggest artificial origin, but unlike anything in our database, or yours, Captain. First contact scenario becoming increasingly complicated, Mercer observed dryly. Ambassador Vexil's skin displayed patterns of concern. Could these be your people, Captain? Negative. Earth has no other vessels with interstellar capability. As the objects drew closer, their nature became apparent. Crystalline structures the size of small moons, moving with intelligent purpose directly toward Joria Prime. Their surfaces reflected starlight in hypnotic, shifting patterns. They're scanning us, Nakamura reported. Intense energy beams sweeping both the Odyssey and Joria Prime. Intentions, Mercer asked. Dr. Willis studied the sensor data. Unknown, but they're accelerating. Impact trajectory with Joria Prime in approximately 48 hours. Ambassador Vexil's skin paled. Our planetary defenses are designed for meteor deflection, not whatever these are. Mercer turned to the ambassador, his expression grave. Ambassador, I propose we face this together. The Odyssey's systems are at your disposal. You would defend our world? Vexil asked, genuinely surprised. We came seeking friendship among the stars, Mercer replied simply. Friends stand together in times of crisis. The next 48 hours saw unprecedented cooperation between humans and Jorians. The Odyssey's advanced technology combined with Jorian ingenuity as both species worked to understand and counter the crystalline entities. In a temporary laboratory established aboard the Odyssey, Director Nima and Dr. Willis made a breakthrough. The entities appear to be silicon-based life forms, Nima explained to the Combined Leadership Council. Their crystalline structures act as both body and spacecraft, and they're drawn to the electromagnetic patterns generated by both our civilizations, Dr. Willis added, particularly our communication systems and Joria's bioluminescent oceans. Can we communicate with them? Ambassador Vexil asked. Dr. Willis shook her head. We've tried every approach. They don't respond to any known communication method. And their trajectory? Mercer inquired. Director Nima displayed a holographic simulation. They will impact Joria Prime in approximately 12 hours, causing catastrophic damage. The room fell silent until Commander Torres spoke up. If they're attracted to electromagnetic signatures, could we create a more appealing target, draw them away from the planet? Lieutenant Nakamura's eyes widened as he caught the implication. A decoy. We could modify the Odyssey's communication array to broadcast at amplified power. Too risky, First Officer Dowen objected. We don't know how they'll react. They could turn hostile. Commander Zarin, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. What if we combined approaches? Your ship creates the lure, while our platforms establish a disruption field to slow them once they've changed course. Mercer nodded slowly. A trap, lure them in, then disable them for study rather than destruction. It would require perfect timing, Nima cautioned, and modifications to both our technologies. Then we'd better get started, Mercer replied, standing. Ambassador. Vexil's skin glowed with determination. Together, Captain. The plan came together with remarkable speed, both species contributing their unique technological strengths. The Odyssey positioned itself in a polar orbit around Joria Prime, its modified communication array broadcasting patterns mimicking the planet's most attractive electromagnetic signatures, but amplified tenfold. Meanwhile, Jorian defense platforms were repositioned into a precise formation, each modified with human engineering to generate a disruption field targeting the unique frequencies of the crystalline entities. They're changing course, Nakamura announced as the entities responded to the lure. All three are now tracking the Odyssey. Maintain position, Mercer ordered. Ambassador, are your platforms ready? From the Jorian command ship, Vexil confirmed. All systems prepared, Captain, awaiting your signal. The crystalline entities accelerated toward the Odyssey, their surfaces shifting with increasing speed. As they crossed the predetermined threshold, Mercer gave the command. Now, Ambassador. The Jorian platforms activated simultaneously, generating a disruption field that enveloped the approaching entities. The effect was immediate. The crystalline structures slowed dramatically, their surfaces losing coherence. It's working, Dr. Willis exclaimed. Their molecular structure is destabilizing. Not too much, Director Nima cautioned. We want to study them, not destroy them. After several tense minutes, the entities stabilized in a dormant state, their once threatening momentum completely arrested. Containment successful, First Officer Dowen reported. The entities are inert but intact. A cheer erupted across both human and Jorian vessels. What had begun as a potential disaster had transformed into humanity's and Joria's first joint scientific opportunity. 1 month later, Captain Mercer and Ambassador Vexil stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Joint Species Research Station orbiting Joria Prime. Below them, the planet shone beautifully, while nearby, the contained crystalline entities floated in specialized fields, undergoing careful study. The High Council has approved the permanent diplomatic mission, Vexil announced, his skin glowing with formal patterns. Earth will have its embassy on Joria Prime, and our representatives will journey to your world once suitable transportation is arranged. The Stellar Odyssey will be honored to carry your first delegation, Mercer replied. Our engineers are already collaborating with your scientists on adaptations to make the journey comfortable for Jorian physiology. They watched as a shuttle transported another research team to the containment facility. Human and Jorian scientists worked side by side, their initial awkwardness replaced by comfortable camaraderie. We've learned the crystalline entities were not hostile, Vexil mused. Merely curious, drawn to the energy patterns of sentient civilization like moths to flame, unaware of the potential destruction their investigation might cause. A common theme in first contact scenarios, Mercer observed. Fear and misunderstanding leading to conflict. Yet we avoided that path, Vexil's skin pulsed with thoughtful patterns. When your ship first appeared in our skies, many counseled fear and aggression, how different things might have been. The Purist Coalition members have been surprisingly cooperative since the crisis, Mercer noted. Commander Zarin reports many have withdrawn their objections to human presence. Nothing unites like a common challenge, Vexil replied, though I hope future relations won't require cosmic threats to maintain harmony. Mercer smiled. I suspect we'll find plenty of peaceful ways to cooperate. The preliminary report from the Joint Scientific Team suggests the crystalline entity's molecular structure could revolutionize both our technologies, something neither of our civilizations would have discovered alone. Ambassador Vexil extended his six-fingered hand in the human gesture he had learned. A bridge across the void, Captain Mercer. Mercer clasped the ambassador's hand firmly. The first of many, Ambassador Vexil, the first of many. As they gazed out at the stars, both leaders contemplated the future unfolding before their civilizations. A future neither could have imagined when a human spaceship first appeared in Jorian skies. What had begun in fear and uncertainty had transformed into a partnership that promised to enhance both species, proving that the greatest discoveries often lie not in the stars themselves, but in learning to explore them together. In diplomatic archives on both Earth and Joria Prime, the official first contact record would forever begin with those simple words that had once seemed so strange. "Do not fear, human spaceship approaching." Words that had bridged the greatest distance of all, the distance between different worlds, different biologies, and different histories, to find the common ground of shared curiosity, courage, and hope that unites all who look up at the stars and wonder what waits beyond.